There is something new every day. The future feels so unpredictable. Where could we be in 15 years? Our playgrounds may change. Learning may not need classrooms. Robots might help us meet time for more important things. Will virtual life be our new social life? Coming? Don't worry about what the future will look like. Just prepare for it. Fearless plans from Aegis Federal Life Insurance help you and your family prepare for the future.
I'm feeling nice when I'm with you. When I'm with you, that's how we do. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. Only one that I desire. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Backstage with Boria with one of my favorites, all-time greats, inspiration of mine, of sorts, Viswanathan Anand. You know, when I see this euphoria around chess, it gives me tremendous joy. I mean, in my own city, there's so much keen interest around chess. How do you feel about this whole revolution of sorts?
Extremely happy, more or less the exact way you described it. It's nice to see your sport being watched, being popular, and so much buzz around it. And yeah, you feel that you've left it in a good place.
I mean, there's a difference. In my case, I'm an observer. In your case, you created this. It's because of you. I mean, to a large extent, it's because of you. So that's a different legacy.
That's true. I do feel that obviously I played a big role in this, and you know that the connection with a lot of these youngsters, that I interact with them so much the last few years through the academy, that you try to counsel them and give them tips to move along, and then that they do so well. So you feel if you've chipped in a bit, then that's a great thing as well. But chess has also gotten more popular. More people are watching, enjoying it, and that's good to see.
You know, the kind of euphoria I saw after Pragyananda's World Cup runner-up position. I mean, the Chennai visuals was like after you had won, we're seeing it, you know, almost coming together after 30 odd years. Do you think this generation can actually replicate? I mean, one thing is to have potential. One thing is to actually realize that potential and be world champion. This golden generation, your words, can they do that, you think?
Look, again, they have the potential to do it. Whether they'll do it, we'll see. But when you have 4 horses in the race, your odds go up. And when you have 8 or 10, even more. So on the boys' side, I'm almost certain it'll happen because we have so many of them. Right at this moment, Prag is the top contender. Gukesh still has to qualify with candidates, but very good chances. And then a little bit behind Arjun with it. A lot of them can still join in. But with the girls, I would like to see India come in a big way. Again, we are finding some interesting talents, and this Tata Steel Chess India is one place where we uncover them. Vaishali won last year, Divya won this year, so it gives them a platform to showcase, and that's nice. Again, mostly good things, and we'll see where it leads.
A word on the Asian Games, because our countries like this, you know, move from one multidiscipline games to another, and automatically there is a lot of interest in these games, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's the Asian Games. A word on the Asian Games and the team.
That is very big for chess, because if we get into the Asian Games, that potentially opens up the Olympic stream, and so, as you say, this multi-discipline, that is very positive for chess. And obviously, I hope for a couple of medals. We will see what happens. here it's the opposite sense, where I think people now expect that we will get one,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to be a bit more realistic, bit more detached, and say, come on, there's a Chinese team, there's an Uzbek team, there's a Vietnamese team. We have, we have a good team. Let's give it some time and let's see how it goes. So
That's what
I'm trying not to go nuts, but look, by every measure, they are even slight favorites, and they're very good odds. So.
Can you make me understand why now? Because I have tried to ask this question that after you, there was another group. I mean, Hari Krishna and some of them were there. But again, this group has all of a sudden broken through. Your academy has played a big role. I've spoken to some of them. They keep talking about that. But is there a context to this? Why now, this golden generation? And very young.
It's very hard to say. It's very hard to isolate these things. Sometimes things just happen at the same time, and it's good. I don't. If I knew why it had happened, I would have predicted it. And the fact that my predictions are always, well, it's a good group. Let's see what happens, is because I couldn't quite read it. Though I think if there is one reason, it's the reason for all the others, because they push each other, and that is a big part of it. They are a very competitive group, and because one of them is a 2700, they're all now at racing across. And because one of them is qualified, they will all try to qualify, and this effect is very, very strong. I know it because once upon a time, people like Boris Gelfand, who was coaching them with the Asian Games, I would look over my shoulder, everything, and say, "Oh, he tried a new opening. My God, I have to learn it, and this and that." And that's how you stay competitive, right? And it doesn't have to replace friendship and all that. These are just like my experience. They're all good friends with each other. But I help wondering, in fact, where's the rivalry? They're such good friends, but they must be rivals, and you kind of keep looking for all the hidden signs. Um, but I think that's the big explanation for why it's four. But why there was one to begin with, I don't know.
In fact, if I could sort of probe that a little bit more, I mean, I have asked myself this question that high performance, elite achievers, there has to be ego. I mean, when you see one guy of the same cohort going through getting this kind of adulation in the country, and you played a semi-final, someone played a quarter-final in Gukesh's case, there has to be a rivalry. I mean, you must feel that, oh, I can do it. That's healthy as well for Indian chess, because you want to push the other person and go up.
Yes, there is a rivalry undoubtedly, and look, they're competitive players. But having said that, they all seem to have grown up in the junior circuit together, and their parents sat and watched the same tournament, waited outside while the players were playing at the same time, and there's too many good relations, I think, so which is wonderful. I'm happy that they get along well and so on. And these things aren't exclusive. I mean, you see that, let's say, after all these things, Nadal and Federer still wait for each other and so on. They're very friendly. Football, less so. I think a Ballon d'Or can spoil any friendship. But anyway, you see the point. And, cricketers stay good friends. And the other thing is, I think when the rivalry finishes, the friendship remains. So I've come to the stage, I can tell you from personal experience, I've come to a point where now many of my biggest rivals are just my biggest friends, because we understand we shared a lot together, and there's no one else you can talk to about these experiences. So you kind of have that sense as well. So yeah, it's a good thing, but I'm sure they're rivals, and they're going to compete fiercely.
In your case, you told me you have packed calendar in October, November again. You will play. How tough is to balance this? I mean, 2754 still. Yes, you say you're semi-retired, but you're still able to compete with these boys and beat them. So how are you juggling this?
Mostly by playing fewer events. So I understand that when I committed to be FIDE deputy president, that's going to take a certain months off, which is fine. I'll reduce my tournaments by that much, because I was kind of going in that direction anyway. Then the Vishy Anand Academy will take a certain amount of time, so I'll block the time and I'll work around the bits. And I understand I don't have the time to work and train like I used to, but I will block a couple of weeks somewhere, do some intense catching up, come back, play a little bit. The advantage of competing in fewer events is it allows you to pay. You mentally mark yourself as you get, let's say, June, and then as you closer to June, your body starts to think about playing. You finish the tournament, and then you can relax, and you. So because it's not tournament after tournament in a conveyor belt, it gives you a chance to recover and get back. Having said that, mostly by prioritizing. So I'm happy to spend more months at home with family. I'm happy to be FIDE deputy president. I'm happy to be in the academy, and it's now I see myself as juggling 3-4 things.
One specific question on Pragyananda, I mean, with the candidates coming up, can you help me decode and understand? I mean, all of us are talking about it from the outside. You know him inside. What are his strengths, weaknesses when you play the candidates? You've been there, done that. I mean, if I need to decode Pragyananda, how good is he? Is he got a realistic chance? How do I do it?
The the thing is, Pragnananda is actually an unknown quantity. He's at that stage where he's adding things fast, so people never know. With most people, you have a fairly frozen picture of them, in the sense that there are things you expect them to do, there are things you don't expect them to do, and they'll more or less stay to script. In fact, this is part of the intuitive process of playing someone. You play someone, and you realize that your brain is not even considering moves that they wouldn't consider, because you know them well, and you realize that you're being very efficient in the way so you don't spend a lot of time going down lines which not going to happen, that kind of thing. With the younger players, it's much harder because they are capable of switching violently in this way or that way, so you don't know what to expect. I think the other people will find him harder to expect. I think the way they'll play against him is by drawing on their own inexperience. What was it like when I competed the first time against the big guys? What were the problems I had? And they'll try to bring that to bear against him. But he can fix problems and move on and change. So he's in a rapidly changing stage of his career. I think expectations is the biggest danger. If he puts a lot of pressure on himself, then it's either got to go well or go badly. For instance, Firusha played the candidates last year. Horrible result. In fact, he started with a huge minus score. And I think by then he was shocked because he probably was really focused on winning and couldn't adapt to the switch. Then at the end, once he had come to terms with it, he managed a few wins and things stabilized. Same thing, Aronyan a couple of years ago, 2018. It's this weight of expectations, and when it doesn't happen, it can rebound very fast.
And
so that's the danger. Sorry?
Being so young, is that a...
I think that's a good thing because Prag will not have these expectations. I think he will be realistic enough, or maybe pessimistic enough to not assume he's going to win, and that might cushion him a little bit. He's an outside horse, but he's still a horse.
Last couple of questions. One, first Grandmaster to now what, 82, 83 Grandmasters 83. In the country. Did you ever think that you will preside over this kind of a sea change in the sport? India will have 20 prime ministers, all of this, but Viswanathan Anand stays constant as the leader?
No, you don't think of that far along. I don't know what I'm going to do in 5 years. I'm sure that I didn't think 35 years, 40 years out. What I did do was look at my own goals. I had long-term goals, and even then, I was only focused on the intermediate steps. So I may have dreamt of becoming world champion, but if I was about to qualify for the candidates, that was the focus. I kind of thought, if I qualify, I'll worry about what comes afterwards. And so I was very much this kind of thing. Having said that, even in 2000, we were 6 Grandmasters. And from that to 83, it's nuts. I don't know how to describe it.
Last one. What's there for you now? I mean, what is next? Because clearly you've created a legacy. You are a legend. All of us know that. Look at what you created. But there has to be something that pushes you.
I am excited about my new roles. I mean, I like coming to the Tata Steel Chess India as a ambassador. I get to watch the events, be at a chess tournament without competing. So it's a different vibe. I get to do that also a lot as FIDE deputy president, go to a lot of the big events. And not being a player allows you to detach yourself a bit more and enjoy it more. So I like it that my commitment to chess is even higher than before. Not as a player necessarily, but it's even higher than before. Besides that, I'm happy. This seems to be what I should be doing at the stage of life kind of thing, and I'm happy. I have many projects. I have the ability now. A professional career in chess dominates your thoughts too much. When you have that going on, it's very hard to do multiple things. Now I have the opportunity to try many things, and I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that.
Your son plays?
My son plays a lot. He's a big artist. He's very keen on his art, but he plays chess regularly. Every day he'll sit and solve puzzles and all that, and he's quite fascinated by the game.
I leave it at that. Always a pleasure talking to Viswanathan Anand, trying to understand and decode his art and what he has left for all of us as his legacy. And look at it, 83 Grandmasters, even he can't decode that, leave alone what about us. I mean, but you know what? Whether it's India, whether it's Bharat, we don't know. But the fact is, there is a revolution underway as far as this sport is concerned, thanks to this man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bharat.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for talking to me.